Earlier this year, Lindenwood University students received an email explaining the Belleville campus would be ending its undergraduate program effective May 2020. Students, faculty, and staff got the message right after graduation in May, and it came as a shock.
So just walking around after they released that email, the vibe was instantly changed like that.
People had to rush to try and find somewhere to go if they weren't staying, and then people who did leave and transfer somewhere else had to come back and get all their stuff and then go back to where they were from. We have a friend who's from California, where I'm from, and her stuff is sitting in the basement of my campus house because she hasn't been able to come get it yet.
Wow. As explanation for the change, university officials published answers to more than 60 frequently asked questions and created a student hotline. Basically, the decision was a matter of numbers. Too few students and too much debt. Lindenwood bought the Belleville property and turned it into an accelerated degree program in 2003. But in 2010, it became a college campus. And at first, the future looked bright.
That's when athletics was brought in. That's when residential halls were developed. Enrollment increased, of course, from 2010 through 2015. That was the peak enrollment, with the highest enrollment at that time, right about 1,250 undergraduate students.
Lindenwood Belleville is 78% athletes and once boasted 34 sports.
I don't think anything went wrong. I think the environment changed. That's the higher learning environment has changed. It was built and has been successful as an athletic campus.
Porter says Illinois has a high percentage of non-traditional students, those who are older than the typical 18 to 21-year-olds.
And so when you look at this campus, what makes this campus competitive, it was very attractive to athletes. And so now we have to say, well, how do you become attractive to non-athletes? How do you attract general students and local students?
Lindenwood Belleville has only 10% of students from the local area. Another reason for closing the undergraduate program is that the university needed to invest millions on campus upgrades.
So we were looking at least $10 million just to improve, to attract, plus the fact it's an older campus. So there was deferred maintenance of about $16 million in there. So yeah, total about $25 million.
For several years, the university was spending $2.5 million more than it was bringing in. Meanwhile, the St. Charles campus was in better financial shape. The answer seemed easy. Have undergraduates transfer to Lindenwood St. Charles campus across the river in Missouri.
And to really help the students, you step back and you go, only 40 miles away is a campus that has all of that. Mm-hmm. And if we devote that money here, that also would be money that couldn't be used for all of Lindenwood students.
But when Carly Stegall imagined her last year at Belleville, she pictured the goodbyes to be after graduation, not at the beginning of her senior year.
And that was one of the first things that I thought of whenever they announced that the school was closing. I was like, how many people did I say bye to that I will never see again?
In part 2, you'll hear how this consolidation has affected students, like freshman Hannah Keith. She signed just 2 weeks before Belleville announced it was closing.
And I get a call from my coach. He left and he went to SIUE, so I didn't really know what was going on. So then I'm actually transferring to St. Charles after this year, and I'm going to complete over there.